So what's another one of yours on your list?
Well, the three I have left are all really huge for me, so I'm going to go to this one first.
Okay.
I ended up picking an Opeth album, and then it was, of course, which Opeth album to pick.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up with Ghost Reveries. I had been exposed to Opeth about a year before that by a friend who was playing them all the time, and the first time I heard it, I was like, ugh. The next time I heard it, I was like, The third time, it was like, and then the fourth time, I was like, alright. And then the fifth time, it was like, yes.
Yeah.
So by that point, I was starting to get into Opeth, and of course, I was being exposed to Blackwater Park and Damnation and everything else in their catalog. Mm. But this was the first album that came out while I was a fan. And I remember buying it the day it came out. It was August 2005. It came out, I remember buying it, putting it in my car, and those first strums on the song Ghost of Perdition came on, and then just that first scream, and I was absolutely floored. And I still can listen to this album any day, at any time. And this is the album, up until Watershed came out, this was the album that I used to expose people to Opeth, because it's that perfect Beauty and the Beast thing where there's the ridiculously heavy guitars, the pounding drums, and then all of a sudden he's singing so sweetly, and it just all makes sense together, and it flows, and just the composition of it it blew me away. So you got songs like Ghost of Perdition, you got songs like The Baying of the Hounds. Hours of Wealth was like this big thing because the song itself, it's not Hours of Wealth, excuse me, The Grand Conjuration was 10 minutes long, and they actually made a music video for it, and it got edited down to like 5 minutes, which had a lot of people like me pissed off. You can't take an Opeth song and whittle it down to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But you have all like the really heavy stuff, and then all of a sudden you have a song like Hours of Wealth, which is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard.
I was going to say, that's got to be one of my favorite songs in general.
Absolutely. It's just, and it's so easy to listen to, and it's 5 minutes long, but it only feels like 2 minutes, because by the time you're like really into it, it's fading away. And same thing with Isolation Years. That song is so short, but it's so powerful. Mm-hmm. And that was really what kind of cemented me as, an official fan of Opeth. Uh-huh. And obviously I've been big in them, since then. We've seen them now a couple times. I think everything they've done in their whole catalog is great. I think what they're doing now is great. I think Heritage is a fucking great album, despite the kickback they're getting from some of the fans who are not happy with the direction.
Yeah.
But this one in particular is just, it's something. And the first time I saw them live was in support of this album. Mm. So, hearing these songs live, though I don't think I've ever heard them play Ghost of Perdition live, which always disappoints me. They always play the Grand Conjuration or the Baying of the Hounds or Beneath the Mire, but they never fucking play Ghost of Perdition.
I can't believe you've never seen that live.
Yeah, me neither. And I've seen them enough times, so you think it would have done it at some point. Huh. Unless I just don't remember, which is also possible. But, so that's another one.
That reckless partying.
That reckless non-drinking and non-smoking and non-drug use that I do. It's affecting my memory. Maybe I should start all that stuff. Yeah. So Opeth's Ghost Reveries is on my list. Now, Murmaider, what the fuck? What's on your list?
Well, I guess I'll step forward with my favorite Opeth album, because that's one of mine on my top 5, is Watershed, which is the album that followed Ghost Reveries. And I have to say this was partially one of my favorite albums, because out of all the Opeth albums, because this is the one I got into first.
Yeah.
And even for me, the way you kind of described yourself and getting into it, when you showed me them, I didn't like them at all.
Yeah, I remember the look on your face, like,
I was like, come on, man, like, let me get back to Nightwish. You're wasting my time here. and it opened up with the song Coil.
Yeah.
And that was completely, acoustic there. There was no growling, no violence or anything like that.
You were immediately in love with the girl in the song, despite the fact you didn't know who she was.
Yeah. And I after that, it jumps right into Heir Apparent, which is one of the heavier songs on the album, because the album's very diverse as well, and it has a lot of heavier songs, and then switches over to the clean vocals and softer side of things. And I think that's why I took this album also more than some of their older stuff, which is that was just more aggressive. But my favorite song was The Lotus Eater, which is track 3.
Yep.
How it starts out with the
and he does that every time they play live.
Yeah.
And this next song starts out like this. and you just kind of like, yeah,
and the crowd just goes crazy.
Yep.
And that was another thing too, was that that really pushed me over the edge, was seeing them live.
Yeah.
The first time I saw them live, I was like, fuck, man, this is fucking great.
What was the first show of theirs that we went to?
We saw them at the Nokia Theater, or the Best Buy Theater, as they call it now.
That's right. We were right on the side.
Yeah,
we were friends. Yeah,
we were.
Rob and Elsa and Vivi and Matt.
We didn't have that great a... I mean, we were close in a sense, but we were all the way to the side to where we couldn't even see the one guitarist. I remember I could see, Michael singing up front, and it was hard to see some of the other stuff, but we were up, semi-close. And we were up on the short balcony, so we had a little leverage. We didn't... I didn't have to worry about...
because I was the only person, in that group that was over like 5 feet tall. You guys are all midgets.
But, this album is definitely one of my favorites. I go back to it all the time as well, and this is another one I can listen to all the way through every time, and it gets me. Hex Omega was another one of my favorite ones, and they go a little softer there also.
But you're forgetting all about Burden.
Of course, Burden. I love Burden too. Burden, and it's hard to pick them all out too, because even the Hessian Peel, just the fact that it's 11 minutes 25 seconds long, right away I was interested in checking it out, and I love the more progressive stuff, and but yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, now that I think about it, it's the one album that I only own the regular copy. I didn't pick up the special edition, which I guess I still need to get on that, huh?
Well, yeah, that was actually the first album where they did something which I thought was kind of shitty. They had the special edition that had 2 bonus tracks, but they put the bonus tracks on the DVD, not on the CD.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So it wasn't even like they were just 2 songs tacked on the end, which is what you prefer, obviously.
Yeah.
Which I'll get into that when I get to my last one. But, so that was a little disappointing. And they've actually done that since then. Even Heritage, the bonus tracks are on the DVD.
Right.
But I remember listening to Watershed, and Coil obviously was great, but the first time hearing Heir Apparent, I remember just like my rib cage shaking.
Yeah.
Because that song is just infinitely heavy.
Yep.
And all of the great videos on YouTube of people trying to transcribe the lyrics, and they swear he says invisible cat.
Oh, yeah.
And profiterole and stuff like that. And that's great too. And it's he's so funny, and when they play the stuff live, and hearing that song live on the first tour for that album was absolutely one of the most amazing experiences of my life.
Yeah.
When they're just doing that distorted slide up the neck, and they just it's fucking great. That's a good choice. Good choice.
Well, what's another one of your...
Well, I got 2 left, and now these 2 are connected.
Okay.
So I had a hard time deciding which one I was going to mention first, but I'll leave my favorite album of all time for last. I'm not going to say what that is, but this band, this will take me back. The album came out in 2007. It was March of 2007, but I didn't know who they were until it was September 8th, 2007. Going to see a show. Was going to see another band, my band that has my favorite album of all time, and Swallow the Sun was opening.
Oh, yeah.
I get to the venue, and one of the things we always say, you always go for the opening bands, because you never know. Your new favorite band might be the opening band.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we get there early, and I was with my friend Matt and a couple other friends who were actually working at labels at the time, and we're like, you heard of this band? I've never heard of this band. They come out on stage. They're kind of sad-looking guys. They hit the first notes of a song, and the 4 of us just kind of all looked at each other like, what the fuck are we about to hear? And this band absolutely destroyed the place. I could have left at that moment, and I still would have been happy. They played so well, and I remember describing the show to you at work the next day, coming in like, dude, and I had this half-hour rant about how the lead singer, he would come up to the mic and he would just do the growling, and then he would just turn away from the mic, and he was like, I fucking hate my life, and he just walked back to the drum riser, get his bottle of water. Yeah, he looked depressed, looked like he
didn't want to be there.
Oh, fuck, do I really have to do this? He'd take a swig of water and come back to the mic, and they just all absolutely fucking tore the place down. And the keyboard player at that point looked like a small version of James Hetfield, so we were calling him Mini Hetfield. But they played all the songs off of this album, Hope, and I loved every minute of it. And then they got to the song Don't Fall Asleep.
Yeah.
And hearing that song live absolutely changed the course of the music that I listened to, because that was my first real experience with the death doom genre. And I remember hearing it and thinking to myself, what the fuck? This is so unbelievable. The keys, the guitars, the bass, and they're all, well, they aren't all, because, you know, two of them are bald, but the guys with hair are swinging their hair around, just, the place is going nuts. And it's going nuts, but no one's moving, because everyone is standing with their jaws on the floor, because no one apparently had seen this band before, and it was just, it was unbelievable. You know, the second they got done, we all rushed over to the merch table. I bought the album Hope, and I remember listening to it in the car on the way home, and my ears were ringing from the show because it was so loud. But I just put Don't Fall Asleep on repeat for like a week after. And that, you know, this album from Don't Fall Asleep is obviously, I've mentioned it 600 times, so it's my favorite song. But, I mean, you just can't beat the track list on this album. These Hours of Despair, an amazing song. The Justice of Suffering, amazing. Doomed to Walk the Earth, No Light, No Hope. There's not a throwaway song on this fucking album. I can't skip anything. It's just all there, man.
Yeah. And
everything they've done, Plague of Butterflies since then, New Moon since then. They have a new album coming out in February, which I'm really excited about. I am a lifetime fan of this band because of this album. And I am a lifetime fan of heavy music because of this album.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Well, I remember getting back to how you kind of described them on stage. I remember meeting them a couple of times. We met them a couple of times downstairs at the...
Actually, that first show, they ended up coming off the stage, and the venue we saw them at is the Chance, and there's no backstage. They ended up coming off the stage and standing right next to us. Oh, and as they were coming off the stage, I was going to the bathroom, and I passed the keyboard player, and this dude just blew me away, and I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of looked at him and went, good show. And he just kind of put his fist up and went like, thank you. It just seemed like maybe he didn't speak English. But yeah, then meeting him at Gramercy.
Was it Gramercy? Yeah, downstairs at Gramercy. And they're just there drinking beer.
Yep.
And relaxing, having a laugh. Like, you know, like they didn't have those depressing faces on them. And they were all, they looked like they were all in a good mood. And they were nice guys. We got really pictures with them and stuff. And
the pictures are actually really funny too.
Yeah.
They were really nice, and everything they've done. We saw them there a couple times.
Yep.
And every time, I'm telling you, that's another one. When they're playing a show, you can guarantee we are going to be there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That was actually one of the only times we've gone to a show where we wanted to be up front. We were right on the barrier, right in front of them. I remember taking video.
Yep.
It was amazing.
And I feel like they always have like some of the best like play sets. They always play everything that I want to hear when I go to see them. You know, all the way back to their first album, The Morning Never Came.
Oh yeah, they always play. What's the song? Swallow.
Swallow.
Oh my god,
that's the first one.
And that is a ringtone forever.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And the good thing about them is there's nothing in their catalog that's bad.
No.
You know, they play the entire half an hour Plague of Butterflies, and it's fucking great.
Yeah,
it's fucking great.
Every second.
They set the standard for death doom, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
So now, Murmaider, you have. How many you got left there?
I got one more.
Oh, you only got one more?
Yeah, my last one.
Well, I seem to notice an absence of a certain band. Big Time Rush? Is that your next one?
Close.
I knew it was close.
It's not Big Time Rush, but...
Metallica and Lou Reed.
No, getting closer. It does start with an M.
Oh, it does start with an M? All right. Okay, what is it?